Chronic trauma can take a toll on the body. Here's how it affects us. So today we are going to be talking about our physical disabilities and how we manage and track them. We have a video where we talk about the connection between chronic trauma and chronic disabilities that we made while we were experiencing a flare-up before we had any diagnoses. If you would like to learn more, you can check that out in the video up here. So, as we mentioned in our system update video, we are now being treated for POTS, which is Postural Orthostatic Tachycardia Syndrome, and have been medically recognized with some form of hypermobility-related disorder, which is currently in our chart as Ehlers Danlos Syndrome. Though we have not done enough testing to know which disorder it is specifically. But since it is what is in our chart, we will be focusing on Ehlers Danlos for this video. Both of these disorders are highly comorbid with each other, as well as with autism and complex dissociative disorders, which we also have. So let's start with POTS. Postural Orthostatic Tachycardia Syndrome is a dysfunction of the autonomic nervous system. The autonomic nervous system basically being what controls all of the bodily functions that you're not thinking about doing, like breathing, digestion, heart rate, stuff like that. The main thing that is typically focused on with this disorder is the increase in heart rate when standing, which is what it is named for. Tachycardia is an increased heart rate. Postural has to do with what posture your body is in, and orthostatic has to do with being in a standing position. So the name basically means that your heart rate is increasing when you're standing. Those with POTS typically see an increase in heart rate of at least 30 beats per minute upon standing. Though notably, if this increase in heart rate coincides with a drop in blood pressure, that would be considered orthostatic hypotension instead of POTS. As blood gets pulled to lower parts of your body as you stand, your body is supposed to be able to compensate and push the blood back up to other parts of your body. For those with POTS, their body has difficulty with this, which can lead to blood pooling as well as other symptoms related to areas of the body that aren't getting the blood flow that they need. So, what are the common symptoms that go alongside this? It is common to feel dizzy or lightheaded when standing or after standing for long periods of time. Many experience fatigue even when they have done very little activity. Brain fog and the inability to concentrate are also common, as well as headaches, shortness of breath, nausea, digestion issues, temperature regulation difficulties, exercise intolerance, and fainting or almost fainting. These symptoms may become worse due to exposure to heat, dehydration, or stress. It is also common to experience something called coat hanger pain, which is pain through the neck into the shoulders in the shape of a coat hanger, which is worse when standing, just like the other symptoms. So, what do we experience? The main thing that led us down this path was getting migraines with an aura being like spots you get in your vision. We experience it like flashing gray lights in our vision that pulse and grow bigger until they fully make it so that we can't see. But we would get these after standing for a long time, exercising, or getting too hot. And we have to sit down to make them go away. And the longer we stay standing, the worse it gets. We also have very bad issues with temperature regulation. When we're cold, we can't warm up, and when we're warm, we can't cool down. And we sometimes ping pong between the two over time. As soon as we can cool down, we can't warm up, and back and forth. We also experience shortness of breath alongside our other symptoms, and our coat hanger pain is absolutely terrible and has been a constant problem for us. We also obviously have problems with brain fog and concentration that come from our dissociative mental disorder, so this may actually have multiple causes instead of just being related to POTS. We've also had digestive issues throughout our life that have slowly gotten worse over time, but these also aren't solely related to POTS. And we deal with insomnia, so fatigue is an everyday thing. We have never fainted, though we have felt like we are close to fainting plenty of times. So now to how to deal with the symptoms if you have the disorder, and how we deal with them ourselves. Unfortunately, there is no cure for POTS, though the symptoms can be managed. It is very important to stay hydrated when you have POTS. It's typically recommended to drink about 8 to 12 cups of water a day. This is one we definitely struggle with, as our digestive issues make us feel sick if we drink too much liquid, especially water makes it much worse than a lot of other liquids. We've been trying to track how much liquid we're drinking and when, to keep more on top of that, as well as adding electrolytes when possible to help with hydration. Salt intake is also very important, and those with the disorder regularly need to have a higher salt intake than the average person. It can depend on the person, but it is not abnormal for those with the disorder to be recommended to have a salt intake of between 3,000 and 10,000 milligrams daily. This is not something we personally struggle with at all, as we are absolutely addicted to salt, which may also be our body's way of telling us we need this much. We always have salty foods around us and are eating them constantly. Wearing compression garments can also be beneficial when it comes to reducing blood pooling. We personally are wearing compression socks fairly constantly now, and always have a pair accessible when we aren't wearing them. Exercise is also important, but something to be careful with. As we mentioned earlier, exercise intolerance is one of the common symptoms. There are plenty of POTS-specific exercise programs that can be easily found in a basic internet search. We are still personally exploring how we want to increase our exercise and what works for us. We have stretches we do every day for our scoliosis, and that tends to take a lot out of us. So finding things we could potentially add on, as well as potentially removing some of the stretches that are now more difficult for us, has been an ongoing process. It can also be important to track your symptoms. We aren't as consistent with this as we would like to be, but we have a few notebooks where we note our vital signs and note our symptoms anytime they do or have the potential to flare up. So we have data on what is going on over time. The thing we are most consistent with right now is checking our change in vital signs upon standing. So now moving on to Ehlers Danlos Syndrome, specifically the hypermobile subtype, as we have some form of hypermobility related disorder. Ehlers Danlos Syndrome is a connective tissue disorder. Connective tissue being basically everywhere in your body and what holds all of the parts of your body together and in place. For those who are hypermobile, some of their joints may move further than normal, and this can cause a multitude of different problems. Not everyone who is hypermobile will have a hypermobility-related disorder, though, as hypermobility is not uncommon. So, other than being hypermobile, what are the other symptoms? For those with these disorders, hypermobility comes with joint instability and pain. This can cause frequent dislocations, subluxations, which are partial dislocations, and injuries such as breaks and strains from joints being pulled too far. It can also cause arthritis to appear earlier in life. Separate from injuries, it can also cause chronic fatigue, the extra effort that the body needs to put in to keep itself together can be tiring and take a lot of energy to maintain. It is also common to experience muscle pain, as well as poor balance and coordination. It is common for those with the disorder to have soft, velvety skin that is very stretchy and bruises easily. Wounds may also take longer than expected to heal. Just like those with POTS, those with Ehlers Danlos Syndrome may also experience digestive issues, dizziness when standing, headaches, migraines, temperature regulation problems, and brain fog and difficulty concentrating. Also, over time, flexibility may decrease as the body may compensate for joint instability by increasing muscle tension in the surrounding areas to keep everything in place. So, what do we experience? We have always had an increase in sprains and joints feeling like they're slightly out of place but never any dislocations. Our throat specifically is very mobile, which has made breathing and swallowing rather difficult throughout our life. We've also had a lot of difficulties with our fingers being double jointed and it preventing us from doing basic things like touch typing without immense pain. We also already have mild arthritis. Our muscle pain is really bad, and we've definitely ended up with some limits to our mobility in some of our joints now with how tense our muscles are. Our balance and coordination have always been terrible, though we also grew up with a lazy eye that has definitely affected our depth perception and affects this some. But we have tripped over so many things that do not exist in our life. And we definitely have chronic fatigue, but there are many factors that may play a part in that. How soft our hands are is definitely something we have gotten a lot of comments on in our life. And our skin is definitely very stretchy. And we always have some bruising somewhere, but with our poor coordination, we're always collecting new ones. And we've already gone over all of the symptoms that are also present in POTS, so we can check those off the list. So, what can you do if you have the disorder? Again, like POTS, there is no cure, so it's all about managing symptoms. The focus here is in protecting joints from injury and in strengthening muscles. It is common for those with the disorder to seek physical therapy for it, but that is not something we are currently doing. To protect joints, it's good to have different types of braces available. We have plenty that go everywhere with us after the number of times we've injured ourselves. We never know when our joints will want a day off, so it's good to be prepared. And of course, it's good to have different pain management strategies available for if something does happen. We typically just do some gentle stretching and massaging of the affected joints, but we have gotten way too good at tuning out the pain, as it is a constant problem. For those with the disorder, it may be good to track pain, fatigue, and any associated activities that may be affecting how bad the symptoms are on any given day. Though we personally haven't tracked anything when it comes to these symptoms personally. But I think that is all we planned to cover in this video. If you have any questions, want to learn about any aspects of these disorders or our experiences, or want to share your personal experiences with these disorders, you can leave that in the comments down below. We also have a Discord server linked in our description if you'd like to come and chat with us there. It would be great if you liked the video if you liked it and subscribe to see more content like this. Though this is a departure from our usual content, as we tend to focus on complex dissociative disorders on this channel. If you want to learn more about what complex dissociative disorders are and the differences between them, you might want to check out this video up here. Or if you want to learn more about complex dissociative disorders in general, you may want to check out this playlist down here. I hope you're having a great day, and we'll see you in the next one.